Happy fall, y'all. It is finally sweater weather where I live. It has been like in the 60s in the morning. It has been so great. Today I want to talk to you about the books that I read in the month of September. I have finished 10 books in September. My husband and I are at the very end of a book that we're reading together, and I'm hoping to finish that by the end of the month. Technically, I still have 2 days left in September while I'm filming this. But as for what I did read, the first book that I read this month, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is her new release for 2025. This came out in May, I think. But this is a signed edition. It's beautiful. My husband pre-ordered this for me. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil follows 3 different women and their varied perspectives in 3 different timelines. So we have Sabine, who is from the 1500s. We have Lottie, who's from the 1800s, and we have Alice, who was killed in 2019 in college. In this book, we are learning how they kind of tie together and also learning their backstories and how they became vampires. I really, really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it a 5 stars. I love V. Schwab's prose. I think that this is such a beautiful story, like most of her other books. She does such a good job providing such depth to these characters. The ending is kind of ambiguous. That is my only complaint, but I still ended up giving it a 5 stars. Next, I read Spy Family Volume 14. This is a graphic novel series that follows a family. There is the dad, who is an undercover agent. There is the mom, who is a skilled assassin, and Anya, who is a telepath. And Anya is the only one that knows her parents' identities because she can read their minds, but nobody else knows about any other buddy's secrets. Volume 14 focuses more on some of our secondary characters. Like, we get a little bit more backstory about a teacher at Anya's school, and it's just really cute. I enjoy this series, and every one that I read, I give 5 stars. The next book that I read is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is part of her new series. Oh my god, the feels. This book is about a young woman named Sybil, and Sybil, as a foundling, goes to the care of the abbess. Under her care, she ends up becoming a divine. She basically undergoes this ritual, drinks some blood, and is able to tell that person's future. It is very much in their beliefs. They are sacred vessels and very revered. Unfortunately, Sybil's sisters all end up going missing, and so she has to go around and find her diviner sisters. She doesn't go alone. She ends up getting the help of some knights, and there is a small romance subplot. I really enjoyed this book. The world building in this book is great. There is a little bit of a curve to this book, though, because it just kind of throws you right in. And if you don't really know what's going on, if you don't pay attention to what's going on, you're going to be lost. Taking those cues of she's a diviner, she has these abilities, she is guarded by gargoyles. So take that in, and by gargoyles, I do mean like stone gargoyles. So take that into account when you go into this book. That way you're not so blind like I was. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. So far, so good. This reading month has been great, but here's where it takes a turn. The next book that I read is Devolution. My husband and I read this on a road trip, and it was fine. This book is told through mixed media, so we have interviews and documentaries and news clippings, but also we have a journal, and that is where the primary story is, of this woman, Kate, that lived in a community, but it is very high-tech. Now that sounds fine and dandy, right? Except they ended up getting snowed in, and they are cut off from the world, and Sasquatch starts to hunt them down in these houses that are open to the world because it's just all glass and pretty shiny new houses, and it is very spooky. My husband and I both enjoy the audiobook. It has some big names like Jeff Daniels, Nathan Fillion, and Judy Greer as the narrators, so I definitely recommend the audiobook for this. I thought this book was okay. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It's not something that I would reread, but I did enjoy it while I was listening to it. The next book that I read is Flock. I read this for my traveling annotated book series. This book is about a young woman named Cecilia, and she goes to live with her dad in order to get her inheritance. She has to spend a year with him. While she is there, she meets some boys that she finds attractive, and she ends up hanging out with them. They have a lot of secrets of their own, and she is trying to figure them out and figure out their secrets while also trying to survive living in her dad's house. Not that it's a bad place to live, it's just uncomfortable because her and her dad have a very strained relationship. I didn't like this book. If you want my thoughts, this vlog comes out next week on Thursday. You can go there and hear my detailed thoughts on this book because I go off. I gave this book 1.5 stars. Okay, moving on. The next book that I read is The September House. I read this for one of my book clubs. September House is about a woman, and she lives in a haunted house, but it is not a typical haunted house. She actually gets along with the ghosts for the most part, but during the month of September, the ghost activities kind of start to ramp up, and blood starts dripping from the ceiling, and it gets creepier and creepier as the book goes along. Her husband ends up going missing, and her daughter comes to stay with her in the haunted house that she's never been to before. So we have that interesting balance of trying to stay on schedule of the September house that she has gotten to know over the past few years and try to hide that the house is haunted from her daughter, but also try to find her husband and avoid police investigation. It is chaotic, and I was here for it. I would definitely recommend September House. I did end up giving this book 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I think that it was a fun new twist on a haunted house story. My issue with this book was it was very long, and I wanted more depth for the length of the book that it was. I felt like there could have been a little more detail on the poor ghosts that were haunting the house. We do understand like their death, but why are they still there? Why is it particular to this house? Also, there is a mention that maybe there's other issues with other houses in the book, and I would have liked to see that expanded upon. For that reason, I ended up giving it 3 stars, but it's a high 3 stars. I did enjoy this book a lot. Up next, I read A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This book was an anticipated release for me, and I am so glad I finally got around to picking it up. This book came out in March. This book is about a woman named Sarah. Sarah lives at an inn with her great aunt. One day, she finds her aunt has died in the garden, and she uses her magic to resurrect her aunt and spends all of her magic essentially, and she is barely able to conjure anything after that. So she is exiled from the guild after resurrecting her aunt. She is made to be a martyr in the witch community essentially. But as time goes on, we learn that there is a solution to this, and she attempts to get her magic back. Just like her other book, Song of Madonna, she has a beautiful found family, a sweet romance. There is such great autism representation in this book, which I really appreciated, and I just think that it was a really cute book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Speaking of witchy books, the next book that I read is Unfamiliar, Volume 1. I read a couple graphic novels this month because I'm trying to meet my Goodreads goal, and so I needed to read a couple short books. So Unfamiliar was on Kindle Unlimited, and it's a graphic novel about a witch that moves into a haunted house, and she makes some unlikely friends along the way to help her unhaunt this house and help these ghosts pass on. It's just really cute. There is a second volume available, and I'm just waiting for the library to send it to me because I am so excited to be picking it up. I gave Unfamiliar 4.5 stars. You know when you don't know what to pick up and the library sends you something that was on your holds list totally unexpectedly? I ended up reading Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice to Murderers because of this, and I am so glad that I did. This book is also found family. It is about a woman named Vera Wong, and she owns Vera Wang's world famous tea house. And one morning she walks into the store and finds a man dead in her shop. She immediately calls the police. The police think there's no foul play. This man just happened to stumble into her shop and passed away. But she is convinced that the 5 customers that come in after his death are responsible for his murder. So she starts to befriend them. She cooks them a dinner, and then she says, "One of you's the murderer." And she goes from there. I laughed out loud at this book so many times. I paused my audiobook and looked at my husband and had to repeat what the audiobook said because it was just so funny. He was like, "Why are you giggling?" And I had to explain it because it is so funny. She is a very nosy woman. She's minding everybody's business, and I'm here for it. She is so funny. Along the way, she does develop a relationship with all of these characters. You get to know them and understand a little bit more about them, and I think it's so cute. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. There was a relationship in this book that I wanted to see it be something more, but other than that, like, I have no qualms with this book. I think it's hilarious, and I cannot wait until I read the next one. Also, the food imagery in this book sounds so wonderful. If I knew how to cook Chinese food, I would be doing a chapters in cooking episode on this, but I don't know anything about cooking Chinese food. But man, it all sounded freaking delicious. And the last book that I have finished so far is Carmilla. This is the original vampire story, from what I understand. This book was published 25 years before Dracula. Carmilla is about a woman named Laura. She ends up making friends with this woman named Carmilla. And while Carmilla is staying with Laura, Laura ends up getting very sick. She has these dreams. Children in her village are also ending up sick and dying, and they're all trying to figure out the cause, and there's rumors of a vampire. I liked this book. It's a classic. It's very short. It's only 108 pages. I listened to the Audible dramatic retelling. Like, there was sound effects, there was different voices for different characters. It felt like I was watching a movie instead of listening to a book. And I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Let's talk about statistics that I have read. So far, I have read 10 books. Hey, Editing Abby here, and we need to talk because the last time that I spoke with y'all, I've finished 5 books in the month of September. I didn't expect that, but I found a couple little novellas on Kindle Unlimited. So, rapid fire, this is what they're called, who they're by, a little bit about them, and what I rated them. First is The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren. This is about 2 people that meet on email by accident, and they send each other Happy Valentine's Day every year for 10 years, and then they decide to meet each other. I gave this 4 stars. Next is Rosie and the Dreamboat by Sally Thorne. This is about 2 sisters that go to a spa, and one of the sisters accidentally gets locked in a sensory deprivation chamber. Turns out super cute in the end, but yeah, that was a little stressful to read. I gave this 3 stars. Next is Worst Wingman Ever by Abbi Jimenez. This is about a man who accidentally leaves a Valentine's Day card on the wrong car. He finds the car again, apologizes, and they start writing each other little notes back and forth. There's a cute dog in this, and it's by Abbi Jimenez, so of course I gave this 5 stars. Next is The Unfamiliar Volume 2. I read Volume 1 this month as well. It is just a continuation of that story. It's about 4 unlikely friends that are trying to get rid of some ghosts in a haunted house, but there is also another friend that is trying to break the curse on her, and this also introduces the Fairy King. It is a very whimsical, witchy graphic novel, and it's really cute. I gave it 5 stars. And then lastly, my husband and I did finish Inferno by Dante. I think that this was a great book for us to have some interesting conversations about. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. That means I need to tell you my new statistics, and then I will jump back to my other part of the video to tell you my favorite. So I read a total of 15 books, 2 physical books, 7 audiobooks, and 6 ebooks. I read a total of 3,698 pages. That's an average of 123 pages per day. It took me about 3 days per book. My average rating was 4 stars. I read 10 female authors, 4 male authors, and 8 new-to-me authors. I read 2 middle grade, 1 YA, and 12 adult books. I read 4 fantasy, 4 romance, 2 thriller, and 5 other. My others were my classics and my graphic novels. I had to pop back in here and redo my statistics and summary of all the books that I read because 5 books is a lot more than just adding like, oh yeah, I read another 100 something pages. No, we need to have a conversation. Anyway, back to the main video. And my favorite book of the month was The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This book was just so atmospheric. I loved the world building in this. I also really liked Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, but I think that because this is our world, I just have to go with The Night and the Moth. There was just so much more unique magic to it, and I was there for it. And the ending made me tear up, and I don't often cry in books, so when a book does make me cry, it definitely stays with me for a lot longer than books that don't. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me. Please let me know if you've read any of these books. If you're still hanging out with me, comment a little pumpkin emoji. Just let me know you're still hanging out. And I will see you guys soon in a new video. Happy reading. That doesn't make sense. Well, let me start over. The lesbian vampire story. That was the theme of this month, I guess. So, oh my god, there's like a huge hole in this couch. This is too much detail, Abby. This was one of my most anticipated books of, this book was an anticipated, I was like, there's a dog outside. It's okay, it's my neighbors. Also, their dog is like, the frick is the word I'm looking for? Clairvoyant. Their dog is clairvoyant. I have to sneeze. Holy cow.